Hey, what's up guys? Alex here with a new video, and today I want to go over the accessories I use with my Leica Q3 43. If you're new to the channel, I am a portrait photographer based out of San Antonio, Texas, and I've owned the Q3 43 since launch. I used to own the Q3 28, and I also did an accessory video with that camera, and I will link that somewhere up here if you want to check it out. And for the most part, I've kept the same accessories, but kind of changed the color variation. With the Q3, Leica really kind of leaned in on customizing it and provided multiple accessory options and obviously third-party options. So I kind of want to go over what I use and what's worked for me. If you want to check out the review on the Q3 43, I will also link it up here because I love this camera. But digging in, I want to cover the first one, and it's like probably the most controversial one, and it's the lens hood. And I say controversial because if you're not familiar, the lens hood that comes out of the box with the Q3 43, which is what you're seeing here right now, and I think it is absolutely a gorgeous lens hood, is not compatible with lens filters and the Leica macro functionality. And what I mean by that is, if you look inside here, when you go to macro mode on this camera, the actual lens moves back and forth. And if you have a filter on with this lens hood, there's not enough clearance to go into full macro mode. So for a while when this camera came out, a lot of people were complaining about that. And I think the use case was for ND filters or polarizing filters. You couldn't use them and have the macro functionality. And I honestly thought that was a little kind of blown out of proportion because even if you could use them, you can't get your finger inside the hood to like adjust the polarizing filter or ND filter. And that doesn't necessarily make too much sense. And if you want to use a UV filter, in that situation, I guess I do get it, but to me, it's never been a big deal because I don't really use filters on my cameras. And of course, if you want to use a filter, you can just buy a cheap Amazon hood and you are good to go. But to me, the style of this lens hood and just the aesthetics of it is really, really nice, and I love it. Moving on, I think the must-have accessory, the one accessory I would recommend if you could only buy one, is the Leica thumb support. And I think this camera needs this accessory because this camera really has no grip. I've said this before and I get tired of saying it, but I have larger hands. I'm 6'4", and when the camera has no grip, it makes it really hard to make it comfortable. But this thumb support really just is the perfect accessory. It fits just perfectly and just gives you the ultimate grip on this camera, and it's a must-have accessory. I have the official Leica one, and this one is extremely overpriced. I think it's $240. It's wild, but you can buy a third-party one on Amazon and get the same experience for probably a third or a fourth the cost. I also have a shutter release. I do have the official Leica one, and this is a cool accessory to me because it's black on the top, but in the bottom you have a red accent. And I don't know if the camera will pick it up here. I'm gonna see if I can try. But that red accent really gives it a subtle pop, and it's that Leica red. And I love how from the top it's just a black shutter release, but when you see from the side, that little red accent makes it very, very cool looking. Is that worth the premium you pay for the Leica shutter release? I think it's 70 bucks. Probably not, but I do like having it. I don't know if I can recommend a shutter release. Like, it doesn't really make the experience too different. But I do have it on this camera. Moving on though, here's where I kind of change it up. So right now you're seeing the camera with the official Leica leather half case. And this is the case I have on the camera 90% of the time. I think it looks very stylish and very clean, and it feels great in the hand. I love the leather. I really like this half case, and I usually have a leather half case with all my Leica cameras. But when I know I'm gonna use a camera for a long period of time, or I know it's gonna be in my hand for a long period of time, I change it up. Let me show you what I use. This is this small rig grip for the Leica Q3, and this is my favorite grip in the market. And the reason why I say that is it is the chunkiest grip in the market. It is really, really chunky, and it feels great in the hand. I actually did a review on this. I'll link it up here somewhere. And the only problem I have with this grip, and the only reason why it doesn't live on the camera 24/7, is the color. So this grip is a titanium finish and it has the titanium gunmetal gray, which looks cool on its own, but it doesn't match the camera. And because of that, you kind of have this weird mishmash of colors and it doesn't really look good. Feels great in the hand. It has an Arca Swiss play in the bottom. I love the grip. I just hate the way it looks, so it makes it tough to always have it on. If Small Rig made this in black, it would just live on my camera, but they don't. So it's an accessory I use only when I know I'm gonna have the camera in my hand for a long period of time, or I'm doing serious shooting with the Q3 And for the final one, you can see here I have my Peak Design anchors. I've used Peak Design straps since they came out way back in the day, and I've been very loyal to Peak Design. I love their anchors. They live in all my cameras, and it's a great company. Still loyal to them. But I found a strap that has just changed the game for me for multiple reasons. This is the Owl Crown Trail Flex flat rope strap, and I absolutely love this. And I love it for multiple reasons. First one, this flat rope strap looks incredible and it is extremely comfortable. Second, this is adjustable. So the reason why I've never really used rope straps, I've always loved the way they look, especially on Leicas, it's because they don't make them long enough. So I mentioned this, second time I mentioned in this video, I'm 6'4", I have a long torso, and most rope straps kind of like have the camera sitting here in my ribs, and it's not comfortable. This one is adjustable, so I can make it extremely long where the camera is sitting in my hip, which is where I like it. And I can also adjust it to make it extremely short and have the camera just fit on my chest. And it has Peak Design anchors, so I can use it with my Q3 and all my cameras, and it looks freaking phenomenal. This has become my go-to strap with all my cameras, and I love the way it looks with the Q3 because of the flat rope. Owl Crown also makes a wristlet, which again has a Peak Design anchor, flat rope design, and this is also awesome because I can alternate between the strap and the wrist strap when using the Q3, and again, it looks great with the camera. I've always wanted a rope strap. As a matter of fact, I purchased so many rope straps in the past, and I was always disappointed because they just don't make them long enough. And the fact that Owl Crown makes this Trail Flex strap, which is adjustable, and it's tall people friendly, made me fall in love with it, along with the design, build quality, and just aesthetics of it. So that is essentially the accessories I use with my Q3. Nothing crazy, super simple. And if I had to put them in order of priority, definitely get the thumb support. That is, to me, the most important accessory for the Leica. I think this Owl Crown Trail Flex strap is comfortable, it's stylish, it works with Peak Design. You can also get it with regular, I forgot what they're called, ring attachments, so you don't have to have the Peak Design anchors, because I know some people don't like them and think they're ugly, so you can definitely get it in different options. For me, this is the option I prefer and I think looks best, and it's just customizable. And of course, you have the shutter release, which I'm not sure is a must-have accessory. You shouldn't rush out to get it. And having a kind of half case or a grip, I don't know how important it is. Again, it just depends on the type of person that you are. I like keeping my cameras in pristine condition, so having a grip or a half case to me is important. But that's it. Honestly, filters aren't that important to me, so just having that ultimate Leica quality is enough for me. I don't have to add any filters to the camera. But I did play around with some polarizing filters a few weeks ago, and I was blown away at how it impacted the colors. So I might make a video on that next, which will then kind of omit everything I said about this hood, but we'll deal with that later. As always, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please let me know down below, what accessories do you use with your Q3 or Q3 that you think are must-haves? Let me know down below. Everything I talked about today, I'll have links in the description box. And as always, guys, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace.